Not sure if the camera's picking that up. Can you guys hear the motor running? Let me flip the phone. So it's no longer folding. That one is. This one just spins without doing anything. So I'm thinking something in the gearing is messed up. So I'll be addressing that issue today. And hopefully that fixes it. That's why I had it unplugged. If you unplug it, you could also unpin it just so the motor doesn't work. You can still have the mirror adjustment control, but I'm gonna try to get it fixed. So first you want to pry this panel off to be able to remove well, get access to the bolts that are holding the mirror in place. I sped the video up and did this voiceover just to help expedite the video size because it was over an hour of recording. And I condensed it down to about 27 minutes. But yeah, so right here what I'm doing is removing this clip to expose that screw. That way I could unscrew it and allow me to unclip the panel, give me a little bit more space for unclipping the mirror. So here we are. It's a little jittery. I don't know if this is a recording or just my phone. It's kind of full of data already, so maybe the processing is not going to be that great, but it is what it is. It should still be a helpful video for you guys. So this is the first time I'm doing this repair. So this is a mirror connector right here. You just squeeze it and pull it. It's pretty simple, not too hard to get a hold of. Just you do need the both hands though. And the bolts holding the mirror in place are 10 millimeter, as I'm showing here. And you just unbolt them. The mistake I did here was having the window rolled up, so I'm gonna have to cut away, which you'll see it right now. But technically, you unscrew it, get all the nuts out, maybe just leave one halfway in, and then hold the mirror on one side of the door with the window open, and let go of the last screw, the last nut holding it in place, and that should slide right out. It gave me no issue sliding out, so it should be pretty easy for you guys as well. And here I decided to work today outside. So technically the first thing you want to tackle is getting the mirror part of the rear view mirror of the side view mirror off. You want to pry out the bottom, and once you kind of get the clips to come off, you just want to hold steady pressure like I am here, just to start separating, and that's gonna allow you to separate the mirror from the glue. And then once you get it separated enough, you could just pull it with your hand. So what I suggest is like you want long, consistent pressure when you're trying to wedge the mirror off. You don't want to do a little bit of pressure because it's not going to do anything. You want to keep it long and keep pressing, adding more force gradually, so it starts separating the glue from the housing. So here you go. See, once I got enough of it, enough of a gap, I was able to just pull it with my hand. And the mirror comes off, but you still have that. For me, I have a heater clip that you can see here. That's for the mirror warmer. So I don't know what you call it, the mirror heaters. So what you need to do is you need to unclip it, get it out of the clips that are holding it in place, because the release clip is on the back. And once you do that, the easiest way that I found to do it was to slide the screwdriver in, which you'll see in this cutout take right here. I just slid it in and then slid it as far down as I could, then I started pulling. So here I am sliding it in and pulling. Boom. Took a little bit of a wiggle, but it'll come out. Once that's loose, then you just go ahead and remove the mirror assembly. Next matter at hand is removing the T25 torque screws on the bottom to start releasing the housing, the motor housing from the mirror housing. So here we go, T25, just showing you guys so you guys are aware of what sizes I'm using. Some of these portions, like I said, are going to be sped up just to decrease the size of the video. Currently I'm at work. I'm recording this during my break, so you might hear some noise in the background. I apologize, but I've been technically trying to get this video for. I recorded this on Easter Sunday. Today it's Wednesday, so just trying to work on this as soon as I can. Pretty busy week for me this week, so I gotta take advantage of it now. So here I am removing those. So I already removed the T25 torque screws, and right here I'm removing the Phillips head on screws that are holding the mirror. I don't know what these technical terms are for this, but the mirror holder, or what holds the mirror in place into the housing. So I decided that what I'm gonna do is just call this mirror housing, which is the whole piece, and then the motor housing. So technically I'm just unbolting right now the motor housing. The screws are different size, so anything that's holding that white plastic panel onto the motor housing are longer screws. The shorter screws are the ones that go into the motor housing, just the black trim. So just keep that in mind if you get mixed up with your screws like I did. Some of them fell, since I was using a non-magnetic head, some of them fell to the back and got kind of mixed up. But yeah, I figured it out. The longer screws go with the white plastic. The ones that are not holding the white plastic, those go with the motor housing to hold it in place. What I'm pointing to here is stripping the tape off of the harness. You need to strip the tape to give you some of the slack, because you're gonna need to pull that cable into the rubber grommet that you see back there, and with the tape on there it gives you a hard time pulling it through, so you gotta remove that tape. And the reason why you want all that slack is because that cable pulls out with the motor housing, so the more slack you have, the more wiggle room you will have to work on the motor once you get it out of the housing. So take your time and do that now, which is what I was doing here. And then there's another Phillips screw, which I'm going to show you right now, on the bottom right there. That's holding a plastic trim in place. So I took it out, and then using the pry tool, yeah, I struggled a little bit right here trying to get it to wiggle out, but it wasn't wiggling out. You're going to have to use a pry tool. It doesn't take a lot of force, you just need to pry it. So as you can see here, I'm going to give it a go right now. It's a lot of components, so if you're trying to keep everything from being scratched up, use some, like I have there, some microfiber towels to keep the mirror from scraping back and forth on the metal table. And yeah, you don't want to scratch your mirror. There you go, the piece came off. And then once you take that piece off, it reveals another screw back there, another Phillips head. And I think that's it. That's the last screw holding the housing in place. So once you remove the screw, you just start wiggling the housing, I want to say away from the camera. So as you can see, I'm kind of moving it away from the camera. And then the other action that I was doing was pulling. As I was pulling away, I was pulling up, and that's kind of what helped release it. Right there, I just finished removing the last of the black tape to give me the most slack possible, and continue to wiggle it out of the housing. Here I'm just taking out all the screws that fell when I was trying to remove them from the motor housing from the mirror housing. Like I said, I was using a non-magnetic tip, so a lot of them did fall. But yeah, at this point you're pretty much ready to start working on the motor, just pending the removal of a few clips and you should be good to go. So right here, I thought this clip was gonna give me a battle, but honestly, it wasn't that bad. What I ended up doing was the needle nose pliers just seemed like a dangerous situation, so I didn't want to risk ripping the wires. So I ended up using the plastic pry tool, which was sufficient to just put pressure on the clip side and get it to wedge out. Some people say that they struggle with this because it's glued on theirs, but on mine it wasn't, so I'm lucky there. The next thing you want to do is loosen up the mirror adjustment cables from their I guess it's like a plastic clip that's meant to hold the wires in place, but if you get them loosened out of there, it gives you a little bit more slack, which allows you to pull the mirror a little bit further out, which you need to start trying to pry the motor off. These clips, as you're gonna see right now, boom, I already broke one. These clips are very fragile. Literally didn't even put like 3 or 4 pounds of pressure before one of those broke. And what I've noticed, I was doing this the wrong way. I was trying to push up from those clips that are holding the motor cap in place. But what you need to do is first try to pry. That's what I learned from this. So what I'm doing is not that, but get like a screwdriver or another pry tool. What I used was a metal pry tool, which I felt worked a lot better than this plastic trim tool. So start separating the motor cap from the bottom base of the housing. And once you start doing that, then you start pulling on the clips to loosen and start sliding further up on the motor cap. You'll see that here right now. As the video progresses, I'll start using the metal pry tool, and once I start using the metal pry tool, that one becomes a lot easier to wedge it out. But that's gonna be my recommendation: is start by separating the top from the bottom of the housing, and then try to pull the clips to allow for the motor cap to slide off. But you want to wedge it first because there is a little bit of glue here. It is glued in place slightly, so it's not like heavy glue, but as you can see it right here, it is glued in place. Once you pull it off, just slide it up the cable to give you more room to work with. And there's 3 screws holding the motor housing top to the bottom. You want to remove those for you to be able to separate the top from the bottom. This one's not glued in place, so as soon as you remove the screws, it'll come right off. This chipset right here is going to block your access to one of the screws, so you have to remove it. Just pull it back towards you and up, and it'll come off. Right here, I'm just going to continue working on the screws, taking them off. So there's 3 of these screws. Just keep them aside because they're separate from the rest. And they also have a little bit of glue buildup on it, so it might make it hard for you to get the screwdriver on them, but just work it in, it'll come off. Here, as you can see, I'm getting ready to separate the cap from the motor housing, so I don't want any dust or anything getting into the internal, so you want to just make sure your hands are clean, and you already blew off some of the dust that's up there so nothing falls into the grease and gunks up later. I'm pulling mine out. You can see that white plastic gear. Usually in most of the videos that I watch of people doing this, that gear was stuck at the bottom. For whatever reason, mine was stuck to the motor spindle. So I just decided to leave it there. And I actually felt that for that reason, I felt it was a little bit easier to get it installed back in place. Even though I ended up swapping it, I feel like leaving it up there is better than trying to stick it in and then get the motor gear to fall in place. So I just put it back in and started working on the rest of the area, which is the other gear that I'm about to pull out right now. But here we are. I didn't get a clear angle, but I did leave the video in 4K, so hopefully you're able to zoom in and see it. But technically, I used some needle nose pliers, pulled on the circular gear, and then brought it out. At this point, I was looking at it. I couldn't really tell anything wrong with it. I could see that it was spinning freely, but I was seeing it spin freely without the long gear spinning. So I knew something was off there. So right here, I was just inspectioning it, trying to see what was wrong with it. At that point, I figured out what was wrong, which I'll show you in a bit. I don't know. I was talking with my brother here. He showed up, so I was showing him the gear at this time. And then I want to get the parts. I ordered these parts off of eBay. I might link. I'll go ahead and link the not the description. I'll go ahead and link the part. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. I'll go ahead and link in the part in the description of the video, and you guys could probably order it. They came from China. I don't know how things are gonna be now with the tariffs and stuff. I ordered these like a few months back, so they were pretty cheap. I think I paid like $20 for them. But here you can see the gear is cracked, so that's why it was spinning freely. Every time that it would encounter resistance, it would just open up and keep spinning without turning. So the parts that I ordered, it actually comes with a metal circular gear, which I don't know if it's good or bad. I assume it's good because that one will probably not crack as easily, but I don't know how it will do with wear and tear on the other plastic components. So longevity wise, I mean, this one lasted almost, I want to say, if this is I feel like it was the first time being replaced. I don't feel like this housing was taken apart before. So that one lasted 20 something years. So I'm hoping as long as this one lasts another 20 something years, might outlast the life of the vehicle. So yeah, but here it is, trying to just line it up to how the same position the other one was in, and just drop it in place. I have fat fingers, so I was having a hard time. So you might benefit from just dropping it in and then pushing it or adjusting it with the needle nose. It's up to you. I also went ahead and just replaced the other plastic long gear on the motor pin right there. So that's the one that rotates. So that's the motor that rotates everything to fold in and fold out. So once I did that, I started dropping it in place, which it wasn't seating correctly. So what I ended up doing was lifting it a little bit, then spinning the plastic gear a little bit. And that wasn't working out. I even tried spinning the top of the head, which a lot of people recommended. That wasn't working out. What I found worked out was just literally, so right here I'm trying to see if it'll slide in, but it's not. So what ended up working for me was just wiggling up the housing and then back down and kind of moving the circular gear with the white long gear, and eventually they fell into place and the cover seated properly in place without any issues. Once it seats nice and firmly, what you want to do, which probably, if you go back a few seconds, you'll see that right before I closed it the last time, I pushed in with my pry tool. I wedged it in there and pushed down on the circular gear and the long metal gear, just to make sure they're seated correctly, because a lot of the people that complain about having to do it twice was they didn't make sure those gears were seated correctly and had to take it apart because it wasn't retracting the mirror. So just make sure everything's seated correctly when you put it in, and you should be fine. Now right here, you're about to probably witness one of the mistakes I did, which is putting everything back together. Everything slid back together pretty easily. I didn't have to struggle so much. I know I got my big head in the way right there, but it just kind of snaps into place once you pressure it down, and then the glue helps hold it in place again. There it is. And right here is where you have to take your time and be very critical of everything. I had some distractions. It's Easter Sunday, so a lot of my family was coming over. And you can see right now I start talking with them and kind of lose track of what's going on here. But I already messed up. I don't know if you guys noticed it, but I forgot to plug in the motor connector, and I'm going through the assembly process. So you can see here, I think I'm talking with my mom right here because she showed up. Yeah, and I got kind of distracted. I didn't look back. I just kept going with the assembly, and you'll see in a little bit when I touch back that I had to go through the whole assembly, go to the testing phase to realize that I forgot to plug in the motor. So I'm just gonna let the rest of this kind of play out. You guys can watch the reassembly, or maybe you're already up to this point and figured out that I already know how to take it apart. I can put it back together, maybe not watching the rest of the video. But for those that are, avoid the issue that I had, which was forgetting to plug in the connector. And hopefully that doesn't happen to you, but it did to me. So, well, enjoy the rest of the video. I'm just gonna let it play out. So here is where I'm testing the functions. For some reason, I had side-to-side function, but no up and down and no motor function, no automatic folding. So at this point, literally is where I figured out, like, oh man, I forgot to plug in the connector for the motor. But it took me a while. It took me like 10-15 seconds to figure it out, but it is what it is. Yeah, here's where I figured it out. It's like, man. And I did a voiceover just because there was a baby crying in the background. I don't know if it was one of my kids or one of my brother's kids, but they were pretty loud. But here I am, taking it apart again. I just sped through this one at 8 times speed, so I just wanted to show you that I did have a mistake and show myself plugging it in. So hey, sometimes, you get overexcited, or like in my case, I was both excited to get this fix going, and here I am plugging it in now. And also had family over, so I was a little distracted with that, but that's not an excuse. You should always double check your own work. So I had to just take it apart again and plug it in. But taking it apart the second time is a lot easier now that I've done it once. It literally took me like this whole process of disassembly and reassembly was a total 9 minutes, so it wasn't too bad. But still had to do it, you know, it's extra 9 minutes that I didn't have to spend on it. But yeah, hopefully this mistake that I made saves you from doing the same. So I'm gonna do the outro here. I'll probably let myself talk in actual time on the last portion of the video. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. It's not that hard of a repair. Literally, without recording, it would have probably taken me 30 to 45 minutes. Ready for test number 2. Oh yeah, keep forgetting things. Get so excited. There you go. Let's see, pushing the button. There we go. In, out. So we just finished putting the last screws in and then connecting the connector for the heater unit. I'm just gonna snap it in place. Here it's secured. Slide this in. Line it up. There it is. And push. You go. Push this in as well. And I had that screw I took out.